Okay, the results of the milgram 1963 experiment using observation technique. The DV that was being measured was the level of obedience of the 40 participants, the 40 males, all from the New Haven area in America. They all went to Yale University and were presented with what they believed was a real voltage machine to give electric shocks to prove that people learn memory tasks with punishment, and the punishment being the electric shocks. All of the 40 participant males went to 300 volts. So it started at 15 volts, and although Mr. Wallace was shouting in pain, distress, all of the participants carried from 15 volts all the way to 300. Now, the participants knew what this voltage, or at least 40 volts, felt like, because before they started giving Mr. Wallace the fake electric shocks, they were given a real shock of 40 volts on their hand. So they knew what the volts felt like, yet all of them still went all the way to 300 volts. 26 out of 40, that's 65% of people, went to 450 volts. That's the maximum voltage you could give. Now, about 320 volts, Mr. Wallace just goes quiet as if he's passed out. So picturing Mr. Wallace slumped in a chair in the other room did not stop people administering the shocks, because no response was seen as incorrect answer, so they had to shock them. Now, the qualitative data that was collected were things like what the participants were saying, the distress signals they were showing, any questions or comments, any behaviour such as hiccuping, laughter, inappropriate laughter. All of this was recorded as qualitative data using the observation technique. Okay, so there's not lots of results to learn for this one. It's really more of an understanding of it. But let's have a quick discussion about it. The discussion really is the level of obedience that was found was completely unexpected. Milgram was a Jew. He was expecting to find that Nazis had a disposition, a personality that was very different, and the Americans wouldn't hurt anybody else, wouldn't go to those sort of levels of obedience. He was wrong. Anybody will go to that level of obedience. Now, the reasons that Milgram decided was the explanation for this. One of the reasons is that it was a prestige university, Yale University, so participants felt obliged to carry on because of their setting. The learner volunteered, and they truly believed that the role was by chance, that Mr. Wallace could have easily been picked. They didn't realise Mr. Wallace was a Confederate, and it was rigged. Now, a third explanation is that they signed a contract. They self-selected themselves, and they were paid $4.50 for taking part. A fourth reason is they were told it wasn't harmful. They were reassured throughout the experiment that although it may be painful, it's not harmful. There will be no tissue damage. Another explanation is they had no past guidance. When in real life would you be in a situation like this? So it was a new experience. They didn't know how to act, so they acted in an obedient way because that was their only option. They hadn't thought it through. Number 6 was there was no point to stop. There was no easy way of getting out. There was no sort of natural break. And anybody who did say, I'm not carrying on, I can't carry on, did it where there was a natural break in the experiment. So